How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the TheBlueShifting, and welcome back to our little traipse through Putrika first cut. This has been pretty fun. It's interesting because it's exploring the world and giving us this idea, and it's kind of doing this parallel where basically it's taking place in a time and a world where there's a lot of superstition and belief in magic and witches and possession and evil, and we're not sure if it's true or not. Basically, for a lot of people, for a long time, that was true. Like, regardless of, like, what we now know, and what actually was happening, people tended to believe what they couldn't understand to be, magical sources of magic. In this world, I don't know, because we haven't seen enough. It hasn't established it enough, which I think is actually a pretty cool for it to do. We don't know if magic is real or not. We don't know if it is, how real it is. Is it just a little bit is real, or is a lot of it real? Or what's going on, but people believe it, and it's motivated people to make choices. Not Latina, that's a different word. I think it's like Lapaz, like not Lapalazua, it's like Lapsa, or what? We'll get her name. Her name's so tough. She has no memory, but I feel like she's related to the stories that we've been getting. Like, she's been having dreams about the strange girl who was talking to her imaginary best friend, and who people were starting to think might be related to a witch that was apparently hiding in the woods. And so as like things in the city get worse and worse, they start looking for something to blame, and it looks like it might fall on her. So we're going to see how that plays out. But we also had an issue with Rubia, who is very protective of Rain and wants to keep keep her out, try to like abandon her outside, almost got her killed, but then after kind of confronting each other, now Rubia seems to be very much on team Lazzy, as she calls her. So yeah, we're gonna see how this plays out now, because now that we've got those two kind of like working together, now we get to see what happens. I'm guessing we're finally gonna get some more revelations about her history. So yeah, without further ado, let's go. Remi? Oh. Even Remi couldn't keep up his usual deadpan expression. Surprise flashed over his eyes when he saw our hands. Oh, she's flipped completely. Like, I thought she had a crush on Remi and just, like, wanted to keep us away. But now it's almost like she wants to see us get together. He seemed happy with how much closer Rubia and I had become.
Konnichiwa.
Oh, these we are holding hands. Okay, that makes more sense. So there too, Lazriel. That's it sounds like a name of an angel. So yeah, now they're holding hands, so they're getting along. What was worse, however, was that the mere sight of him caught off guard was enough to leave me flustered. Outfit. Rubia dragged me to stand right in front of Remi. I tried to avert my eyes, not wanting Remi to notice how furiously I was blushing. Thankfully, it seemed Remi was acting as fidgety as I was. Hint, hint! I snuck a glance and saw that he was also looking away. He held out a package. Then he carefully placed it in my hands. Aww. She's like, hey, don't pretend from you. I looked to Remi and he nodded back. Felt my heart beat faster. I was so excited that my hands wouldn't listen to me. My fingers kept slipping off the package. His fingers brushed mine for just a moment. Oh, it's too cheesy. Ugh. Immediately, we both pulled our hands away. I couldn't understand what was going on. What was wrong with me? I could practically hear Rubia rushing me to open the present already. As I finally unwrapped the package, what I found was... I recalled the piece of paper I had doodled on and my feelings of jealousy that I harbored back then. Ashamed, I'd made sure that nobody would ever find out about the drawing, least of all Remi himself.
Rubiaに言われたんだ。ラズリエルは、とても整っているから、
Oh
ちゃ
my
んとした洋
gosh.
服を用意してあげなさいって。きっとラズリエルも欲しがっているから、今は遠慮しているだけだって。
I mean, she's right. Rubia's gone from like attempted murderer to like best wingman real quick.
どうしてこのデザインを？それは。
Huh. Remi looked behind me. I turned around and saw Rubia with a mischievous grin on her face.
ラズタンの本音を届けちゃった。
I was speechless. What could I say?
手作りだから図面通りにできているかわからないけど、着てくれると嬉しい。
It's one of those things where like I always thought I like learning how to sew beyond like the basics, which I know how enough to like maybe make a little like an ugly patch job or something, but I always thought it would be silly and just like a waste of time. Now, sitting here, seeing all the cool people, the things people come up with for cosplays, going to conventions and stuff, and I'm like, man, I wish I could sew.
ありがとう。
I wasn't acting like myself. I needed to calm down. Earth the Lazzy, chill out and enjoy the moment.
すぐに着替えてきてもいい？
ああ、着心地とか聞いておきたいし。
それじゃ。
Run!
着替え手伝う。
Yep. Rubia followed right after me, barely able to contain her laughter. She got me good this time.
あの図面、いつの間に？ラズタンと友達になった日に見つけたの。ちゃんと隠していたのに。
You put it in a drawer. That's not really hiding it. Also, though, it does imply that Rubia said, we're friends. Now I need to look through your stuff.
とっても可愛いデザインだったし、それに私のお洋服を羨ましそうにしていたから。
Lazriel apparently is as easy to read as a book. So basically, she's me. I've never been one to be able to control, like I don't have a poker face at all. I like to pretend I do, but I don't. I wear my emotions on my sleeve really heavily. To the point where I usually don't get angry. It's very, very difficult to make me genuinely angry. Even when people are being obnoxious or like being rude or doing something that causes aggravation to me, usually I can kind of provide a monologue in my own head of like, hey, they're probably going through a rough time. There's probably just a lot on their mind. They're probably not being as malicious as you think they are. You know, usually I come up with excuses for people because I've been there before. I've been in places where you behave in ways you don't really mean, or you exaggerate your feelings on a stranger. So it usually doesn't bother me. But then there was a time where somebody was being disrespectful to somebody I had respect for. They were being very rude and confrontational and basically unprofessional. It was at work too. So they were a coworker, like they worked in a different department, but still we were all part of the same like company, doing our own thing, and they just got in their face and were being very disrespectful to her in front of everybody. And she trained me. She got me kind of going into where I was working at. She just was also just a kind, generous person. And yeah, at the time, I don't know if I knew, but she was pregnant as well. So she wasn't feeling good. She was having a lot of morning sickness and stuff. And I don't know, it just like, I could tell she was like out of it. She was having a hard time and they were just kind of hounding her. I just got so mad. And then later, like I happened to walk into a room like later the evening, and they were there again, that person, and they were complaining to a coworker of mine. And I just couldn't help it. I think I was like mid-conversation with somebody else, but then like I went like all stern, and they said like I got a little scary because I just like dropped the conversation, walked over, and I just like pointed my fingers and like you are being so disrespectful. I know you may have a problem going on. We're gonna fix it as best as we can, but you do not act like that. You're being a child. And then at that point, the coworker, because she was like a lead, the lead of our shift. She comes into the room. She's like, "Hey, you can stop." And I was like, "Sorry, lost my cool." And I went and like left, and like I apologized. I was like, "I'm so sorry. I don't normally do that." But yeah, I'm still proud. I'm proud that I could stand up for somebody, because it's easy to think negative thoughts or to be really upset about a situation. But I liked that my instinct was to confront the situation. It could have ended badly, sure, but at the same time, I feel like I would have regretted it more if I had just been quiet. Anyway, sorry about that.
本当に妄想していただけなの。うん。少しも期待していなくて。ラズタンは優しいもんね。レミに作ってなんて言えないと思ってた。
I mean, Remi's got a good read on the situation for sure.
臆病なだけ。断られたら悲しい。レミだって優しいんだよ。私のわがままたくさん聞いてくれるんだから。そっか。そうだよね。レミ君はやっぱり優しいんだ。あ、もしかしてサイズぴったり？私の時は苦労したのにな。
Oh, that implies he's paid a lot of attention to her shape.
レミ君じゃなかったらちょっぴり怖いね。レミだとしてもラズタンのスタイルを把握しているのはすごいかも。
That's what implies. Like, how does he know your exact size? That's weird.
手厳しいな。身内なもので。
Aw, that is kind of sweet.
ルビアちゃん。ありがとう。
Aw.
どういたしまして。
I was finally able to express what I wanted to say. I might be more awkward than I thought.
レミ君。
It was time to show him. Time to show us too. Oh, look at that.
似合ってる？
Yeah, it's very cute. It's interesting that it's designed to be like cut off of the shoulders, but still has like this kind of sleeve feature. I've always thought that's odd, 'cause that must mean it's just like almost like a cuff you wear, and like, or maybe it does attach and it just has like exposed shoulders. But like, I can't really imagine how that would work without, because it'd have to connect under here, right? That feels like it'd be awkward. I don't know if that's any more awkward than wearing like detachable sleeves. He's like, oh my gosh. The time it took for me to change clothes allowed me to regain a little of my composure. To say I was confident would be an exaggeration, but I at least felt ready to face him. Maybe. It's funny because remember when she first talked to him, she kind of felt a little taken with him, but she's able to like be cutesy, poking fun at him, kind of being, was kind of in charge of the conversation. But now they're both just like awkwardly flailing.
多分レミってば違うでしょ。そこはもっとこう目をそらしてダメでしょ。ちゃんと見てあげて。
See, I thought Rubia was kind of fun before, but now that she's like no longer evil, she's hilarious. I like her a lot.
見てるよちゃんと。でも。
Oh, he was so cute when he was lost for words. Yeah, clue yourself in. Like you're taken with him. He's flat out like tripping over you. It was clear as day that he was the one blushing now.
ラズリエルはとても綺麗だから眩しくて。
Yeah, that's sweet. It is kind of true though. It's like it would be even more so to be like you make an outfit for somebody and they really like it and you like them. It'd be like, whew.
ダメ。
Oh, his reactions were prodded the inner tease of me awake.
ちゃんと見てほしい。
Oh my gosh. Of course, that was how I truly felt as well. I wanted him to look at every inch of me. Oh gosh. Flat. He's like, oh, my soul, my heart, I'm gonna die. I eagerly watched as his eyes rose to meet mine, and anticipation was making me nervous.
とても可愛いと思う。
I savored his timid reaction with all I had.
ありがとう、レミ君。
I leaned in. What prompted it? Was it because he made me such a wonderful outfit? Or was it because he praised me? I wasn't sure. I reached out and grabbed his hand.
近いよラズリエル。
近くない？ちゃんとお礼を言いたいの？
What are you gonna do? He was just too cute. His reactions were more feminine than either Rubia or I could muster.
素敵な服を着飾ったらお出かけしたくなるね。
Look at that little chibi Rubia. That's cute.
どこかに連れて行ってあげたら？
Yeah, she's really shipping us now. Like, I thought she really had a thing for Remi, but now she's really pushing this together. Maybe that's because she has a thing for Remi, but recognizes that Remi's never looked at her or treated her like he's treating Lazriel. And so she's kind of like, okay, look, if it's not going to be for us, I might as well just like be friends with them, and like if I can't have what I want, at least they can be happy, kind of thing. My heart almost stopped.
ラズリエルはお出かけをしたいの。
I hesitated to answer.
ちょっとだけ。
Remi looked genuinely surprised. That came as a bit of a shock. Did I somehow give him the impression that I was shut in? No, I think he thought you were desperate to get out.
明日仕事で近くの町に行くつもりだ。もしラズリエルさえ良ければ、一緒に
行く。
Yes. I didn't wait for him to finish.
絶対に行く。明日。
うん。
I might have even scared him with how eagerly I accepted. I couldn't help it. My heart was leaping out of my chest.
よかったね、ラズタン。
Rubia seemed proud and smug to have set the two of us up. Yeah, Rubia's definitely gone full wingman, but like it's cute that she's actually like doing that. This morning wasn't supposed to be any different than usual, yet the sun seemed brighter than it should be. Brighter still was my mood. I was positively giddy with excitement.
タンちゃん。
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I hadn't been able to sleep last night. Okay, maybe that's a little bit problem. No matter how hard I tried, my heart kept fluttering like a bird trying to break out of its cage. My eyes were wide open the entire time. I did fall asleep eventually, but I couldn't remember when. I got out of bed and opened the window to let some fresh air in. Feeling invigorated, I got changed. Naturally, there was only one outfit I could wear for the occasion. Aw, dainty shoes. Flowy skirt that's a little too high, probably. She's like, oh my gosh, I am adorable. That's gotta be kind of a fun feeling. I think it's an idiosyncrasy of mine, but I've never really felt like I could look in a mirror, look at myself and be like, oh yeah, you're looking good. I mean, there's times where I'm like, yeah, I put in effort. It shows a bit, but never like that. That must be one of the coolest parts about like being able to dress up, being able to put like energy into that, and also feeling like, I don't know, I guess it's probably unfair to think that people who I think look really like beautiful or handsome or whatever would feel that way. But I assume that if you look pretty good, you probably know it. Now maybe you have your own little kernels of doubt because you're a human, but like still, it must be nice to be able to look in the mirror and be like, wow. Like just be able to wow at yourself. Maybe this was too much. I looked way, way, way too bold. I'd have people staring if it went out like this. Well, what is he gonna wear? His shirt? That wasn't gonna work either. But that wasn't what was really concerned about. What mattered most was whether I could get Remi's heart to race with this outfit.
レミ君は奥手そうだしな。
No, he's not. He's just so shy, he pretends he doesn't notice. I wanted so desperately to see how he would react to that I was willing to go the extra mile. The last time I saw him looking all flustered, my heart practically melted.
意外と表情豊かだもんね。
We hadn't known each other for too long, but I already knew how warm and kind he was.
お待たせ。
Hey. Remi was waiting for me outside the house.
行こうか。
Today might have been a special occasion for me, but for Remi, it was work as usual. Seeing him act so blasé, I couldn't help but giggle.
どうしたの？何か面白いことでも。
Just you.
何もないわ。
He looked concerned for me, anyway. Consideration came to him so naturally, and the small gesture moved me.
やっぱり外を歩くのって気持ちがいいよね。
ああ。
街に行くんだよね。どういうところなの？
名はエルムスト。町の中心には大河が流れていて、水上交易が盛んな町だ。金属加工や香辛料の取引で有名で人気を博している。
Nice, nice.
街並みが楽しみかも。
I took the chance to keep barraging him with more questions.
レミ君はどんなお仕事をしているの？
宝石を扱い加工し、時には着飾らせる仕事だ。知り合いの紹介がいろいろな手続きをしてくれて、俺は注文を聞いて作るだけでいい。
Okay.
あとは衣装制作も請け負っている。
That's kind of cool.
最近はそっちの方が忙しいかも。
Are you done? Okay. Sometimes it's hard for me to tell. Like, sometimes it takes longer than you expect. All right. So 2 things I'm noticing here. First of all, she has like a little pearl here, and it's like got a twinkle on it. That's pretty cute. That's a neat little like accessory. Secondly, though, this could be a subtle like implication, because remember I talked about how it feels like there was like either a famine or some kind of like trouble on the horizon, or things were going on. And for somebody in his professions, when there's less money to spend, so when the nobles have less money, when there's less merchants traveling around, when the common folk don't have money, your expensive luxury salesmen are going to start to struggle because people just don't have excess to spend. But people need clothes. So having the clothing going up because there's a greater need for clothing, like mending, repair, or designing, but not much selling of jewelry, that could be an indication that things are like harder times are around.
宝石技師。そうだ、レミ君はすごい人だった。宝石にお洋服なんて手先が器用なんだね。
I mean, absolutely. I couldn't contain my excitement.
このお洋服、本当に素敵だね。イメージしていたよりもずっと可愛かった。
そうか。あまり自信はないんだが。
Dude, why? You made an entire outfit that looks professional by yourself because you're a professional.
デザインだけじゃなくて素材だってしっかりしているよね。肌に触れる感触が気持ちいいの。軽やかでしなやかで着心地抜群。
Skin feels in a super important part.
素晴らしい手際ですな。
Subarashi, masterpiece. Yeah, no, skin feel is a huge part. Like almost all my clothes, especially things like blankets and bed sheets. For me, I like the feel of cotton. So like a traditional like bed sheet tends to be very like it's very thin and very just stark, and it's fine, but I've never found them very comfortable. But you can get the kind that are made of like the polyester fabric that's a lot very common to like a typical t-shirt. You can get an entire like set of sheets like that, and I feel like I sleep like a baby in that. It's just so comfy.
ルビアの衣装を作った時の反省でいろいろ勉強していたんだ。素材はこだわって丁寧に縫い合わせて、刺繍の部分とか時間はかかったけどうまくできた自負もあって。
Dude, though, you were like getting hired to make clothes. So did you really make Rubia like out of the blue clothes? Like, was that your first job? Because even then, that was really good. He was more talkative when it came to something he was familiar with. I was learning about the things that interested him.
ラズリエルの図面を見た時に天使みたいだって思った。そのイメージを念じながら作ったんだ。気に入ってくれたみたいで。
Yeah, I like that
心
too.
から嬉しい。
And with her white hair, she really does look like an angel. And her name, like Lazriel, like that's the name of an angel. There wasn't any of his usual timidness in his smile, only genuine relief. That awakened a surge of emotions within me.
ずるいな。
何が？
他の子にこういうことしちゃダメだよ。勘違いしちゃう。
よくわからないが、依頼されたら制作する。こういうタイプの衣装は珍しいけど。
そういうことじゃないんだけど。
He really doesn't. He gets so caught up in his work, he's not realizing what he's saying. He basically called her an angel. Then a question came to mind that I wasn't sure I should ask.
ちなみに、お高かったりして。
I could feel how well made this outfit was at first touch. It was far too elaborate a thing to make for a casual gift in this day and age. Yeah, unfortunately, she's actually kind of right. She probably shouldn't ask. It doesn't really matter. I doubt he'll care. But at the same time, by putting a price on it, it starts to show a value and starts making it feel like it was like an exchange rather than like a gift.
相場のことはわからない。だけど気にしないでいい。
気にするよ、それは。
いや、本当に気にしないでいい。俺の金の管理は知り合いに任せているんだ。よく知らないけど、俺の制作する衣装や宝飾品は金持ちに人気があるらしい。
I can't believe people like this
随分と
exist.
儲かっているようだから。
I can't believe that. I have to know where my finances are. I keep up on my investments. I keep up with my like bank account. I make sure I check the credit card multiple times like a week, and I'm always like early on my payments for stuff like that, especially when it can go over and like start costing me like interest. Like money is too important to be able to be frivolous about it. I mean, I suppose he's got plenty because he lives in a super nice house and whatnot, but like, it's kind of crazy that he just has someone just take care of all the money. Like, just all of it. Like, they could just be taking 20% of everything you make and you wouldn't even notice.
むしろ、ラズリエルの衣装を作れて。
Aw, there you go. There's a response. And I can't wait to make you more. Aw, was Thor wrong for hoping he'd say those words as well? Pointless fantasy filled my mind as I followed behind Remi.
忘れてた。
Suddenly, he turned around. His eyes looked downward to the right, to the right, his usual habit when he was feeling shy.
とても似合っている。
Aww. I smiled back.
ありがとう。
I had a feeling Rubia reminded him to say so, but the compliment made me happy nonetheless. Ooh, look at that. Dang, this sounds really nice. As I stepped onto the town for the first time, what greeted me was a stream of silver, a river that split the town in half. Its presence drew me irresistibly.
すごい。みずみずしい街だね。
Old buildings lined the banks as we walked down the stone pavements, with even the older signs of where, at last we came to a large bridge. The view from atop the bridge was breathtaking. The river's surface reflected the town's scenery and its people like colors on the canvas.
ここ、大聖堂?
There was a large building at the very center of town. Its majestic figure stood tall and cast a shadow over my heart.
白亜教会が管理する大聖堂だ。町の住民たちの心の支えであり、
The Amber
信仰の
Church.
対象でもある。
I wonder why it's called the Amber Church.
綺麗な場所なんだね。
Remi and I kept walking on to see more of what the town had to offer.
見たことのない食べ物がいっぱい。
Look at it. Her chibi version has cookies and drool. Nice. There were stalls set up along the street, filling the air with mouth-watering aromas.
ラズリエルは食べるのが好きなんだね。
Hey!
食い意地を張っているわけじゃないからね。
わかってる。
こっちの裏路地には何があるの？
Uh-oh. I spotted an alleyway that seemed a little shady.
そっちはラズリエルには関係のない場所だ。
あら。
His blush told me enough. It must have led somewhere too adult for the two of us, and that was all I needed to know. Ooh.
調べ事をしたいのなら図書館を頼るといい。この辺りの町の中では一番立派だ。
Some people said that they thought the art is a little odd, and I can agree, like, it's definitely different, but I don't think different's bad. I think it's actually pretty nice. I do feel like the pales are very pale. Like, I think that's intentional, but everyone is, like, incredibly white. like, painfully so. And the problem is the palettes can sometimes be too much on the light side, where it feels like the whole canvas of all the artwork is just basically a single color. But it's nice when you get like these like a bit of darker backgrounds. It does make her skin look even scarier white, but at the same time, it's beautiful. Also, if this is Remi, it's like I always imagine Remi was short. Like I think he is short as far as like an average person goes, but then that means that Lazriel is even shorter, so she must be really short.
すっごい大きいね。
The building in question exuded such a stern atmosphere that it didn't seem like a library at first glance. Unfortunately, we didn't have all the time in the world to sightsee.
向こう側に町議会の集会所がある。俺はこれからそこへ行かなくてはならない。
Okay.
もうお仕事なんだ。
I knew from the start that I was just tagging along. It would have been nice if we could be together a little longer.
大丈夫。心配しないで。街を歩いてるだけでも楽しいから。
Oh, that doesn't sound like it could be positive. Are you sure she's ready?
少しだけお金を渡しておく。それに何かあったら俺を呼んでくれ。
I mean, that's
どこに
cute.
いたって
That's cute, but
すぐに駆けつけるから。
sometimes I just can't tell. I need to remember if it has periods, that's usually a pause. And so this one had 3 pauses. But okay. He says this interestingly. Like, shout for me, I'll find you wherever you are. Could be generic, just be like, hey, just like, let me, if you're in trouble, like, I'll find you. Or it could be literal, like he has the power to be able to find her, like a home in on her.
ありがとう。
That could explain why he was able to like find her in the woods. I wanted to ask if I could go with him, but I didn't want to be a bother, so I didn't voice my desire out loud.
日が落ちる前には終わるはずだ。そしたら迎えに行く。
私はどこにいたらいい？
町の入り口に。もしわからなかったら全力で探す。
Yeah, it makes it sound like he has an ability to track her. I was a bit sad to be left alone, but there was still lots to be excited about. There's a whole new town for me to explore. Once I saw Remi off, I followed the path down the river and took in the sights. The people I walked past all looked lively. The town seemed to be doing well for itself.
見覚えはないな。
I guess that kind of it sounds like that disproves my theory that like the world is on hard times, because it sounds like the town's doing great. Everything around felt wholly unfamiliar, and nothing stood out to me. In other words, there was nothing here that hinted at my own origins.
別に気にしていないけど。
Without Remi around, my mood turned sour. As I trudged around sullenly, my feet led me toward
白亜教会。
I wanted to get a better view from up close. There was a great and intimidating solemnity about the cathedral, an air of divinity built upon years of faith and devotion. Faint sounds of prayer and organ notes surged as further thickened the atmosphere.
居心地が悪いかも。
For some reason, it gave me chills. Everything seemed too clean, too pristine to feel comfortable.
あの、
Oh, look at this. There's another character, white hair, yellow eyes, and she like has an active halo. Like, hello? Someone called out from behind me.
ねえ、そこのあなた。
What? Are you actually an angel?
私？うん、あなた。さっきも大聖堂を眺めていましたよね。もしかして、お暇ですか？I was greeted by a peculiar looking girl. 暇なんですね。暇なのでしょう。では、ぜひとも私に付き合ってください。
Okay, bold. What? She grabbed me by the hand and dragged me along. What?
私はアンシュ。あなたはラズリエル。そう。なかなかに不敬な名前なのですね。
Well, we bet you 30 seconds if that's what you're trying to say. The girl was expressionless, with equally little emotion in her voice. Ansh, and you say our name has no little ants. Ansh took me to the public square with a fountain.
私の仕事は、ここで人々のおしゃべりに聞き耳を立てることです。なので、ラズリエルも。
What kind of job is that?
私よりもアンシュちゃんの方が暇そうだね。どうか呼び捨てにしてください。親しみを込められると落ち着かないのです。
But then what are you doing?
変な子だな。
Anne shut herself down on a nearby bench and started swinging her legs as her eyes wandered around. It was somewhat adorable how her childish mannerisms didn't match with the way she spoke. She was engrossed in a nearby conversation.
おい、聞いたか？あそこの町議会の若いのが死んだそうじゃないか。
市場ではその噂で持ちきりじゃって。なんでも食事に毒が盛られていたとかの。
うちの駒使いが口にしておったのだが、それは毒によるものではなく、魔女の仕業らしいぞ。夜な夜な不気味な声が聞こえると口走っていたそうな。
So whoever these people are, they're talking about servants, so they must be nobles.
魔女だって？その名前をこんなところで口にするではない。誰かに聞かれていたらどうする？
下手を打てばこちらが魔女に呪い殺されてしまう。 わしらは余計な口を挟まずにおとなしくしているこった。
そうじゃって、私たちにできることは祈ることくらいよ。しかし呪いとは恐ろしいものだ。
It was an ominous conversation over here in broad daylight. Doubt and fear cast shadows over the men's eyes. The scene served as a cruel reminder that the life in this town wasn't as wonderful as I'd thought.
あなたは魔女が実在していると思いますか？
Ange asked me rather bluntly.
私は魔女を見たことがありません。ですが、悪魔が存在しているのなら、魔女が存在しても不思議ではないのかもしれません。
Have you seen a demon? Like, wait, I know Remi says he's a demon, but I don't think I don't think it's real. Suddenly, the girl in front of me seemed more menacing somehow.
わからないけど、見たことがないからな。悪魔はどんな見た目をしているの？人々が想像している通りの姿をしていました。人のような見た目をしているくせに、狡猾で獰猛なのです。悪魔に魂を売り渡すことで、人は魔女になり下がるらしいです。ねえ、ラズリエル。天使のような姿をしているあなたは、
Oh boy, this conversation took a dark turn.
本物の魔女だったりして。
No.
そんなわけ。
I wanted to deny her accusation, but I didn't know what to say.
もしそこのあなた様。
Clicked too early. Just then we were interrupted. I turned around to find a frail old lady, all skin and bones, struggling to raise her voice.
おいしいパンはいかがかね。お腹が空いた頃合いでしょう。
She sounds like she's about to fall into a pile of dust. There's an unsettling quality to her voice, an expression that stuck out to me. It was Ange who answered first.
美味しそうなパンです。ラズリエル、ぜひ購入しましょう。
Ange tugged at my sleeve as she urged me on.
お目が高いお嬢ちゃんだね。うちのパンはこの町一番でございますよ。
まだ買うと決めたわけでは。
My hand tightened around the bag of coins Remi gave me.
ラズリエル。
Ange begged. Was it just my imagination, or was there a forced quality to her tone?
参ったね。交渉が上手なお嬢さんだ。いいだろう。負けておいてやるさ。
But how much are you asking for, lady? And how much do we have?
これくらいでどうだい？
仕方がないな。
おー、素晴らしい決断ですな。さあ、特別なリボンをあしらえましょう。
You could have eaten the bread. The old lady stuffed a paper bag full of bread and tied it.
もしお気に召していただけたのなら、お店にもお越しなされ。焼きたてのパンが迎えてくれますぞ。
She pointed in the direction of her store as I handed over the coins. Then she gave us a deep bow before leaving, satisfied with our patronage.
意外と優しい人だった。
Despite the crude first impression I had of her, the interaction left me feeling warm inside.
それに、いい匂いがする。ラズリエルは食いしん坊さんですね。
Oh.
君が欲しがっていたくせに。違いますよ。ラズリエルが食べたそうにしていました。
Not selfish intentions at all. Having enjoyed Remi's cooking on the daily, I was now woefully vulnerable to anything that seemed remotely tasty.
よだれが出ていますよ。そこまで恥じらいを捨ててない？
I covered my mouth anyway.
あざとい人。
There was no winning this argument. I untied the ribbon on the bag and reached in for a piece of bread. It was soft and fluffy and smelled very nice. Eyes shining, I took a bite. As I chewed, the bread beneath the crust revealed itself to be far softer than I could have imagined. It complemented the crunchy exterior to make for a wonderful sensation. With each bite, the sweet wheat flour flavor permeated my mouth.
これすっごく美味しい。
I was shocked. It was too delightful to keep to myself. I held the bag toward Ansh.
お一つどうぞ。こんなところで食べるなんて自由奔放な人。褒めてる？まさか。
Ansh seemed upset and she looked away from me. Girls her age were incomprehensible, it seemed.
ちょいと待ちな。
Oh, what? As I kept trying to get Ansh to take a bite, someone walked up to us.
おい嬢ちゃん、そのパンを食うんじゃねえ。
Yeah, what? There stood a large bearded man glaring at us like we'd done something wrong. His voice was loud and intimidating enough to silence the square as many eyes turned our way.
知ってるか、あのパン屋はな、悪魔の手先だって噂があるんだ。いや、魔女そのものかもしれねえ。
Uh-huh.
でもこれは。
この間も若いのが急に落ちにあった。あれもその日の昼にパンを食ってやがった。きっとそのパンには呪いがかけられている。死ぬぞ、嬢ちゃん。いいからそれは捨てておけ。
Man, can you imagine that bad luck? Like, maybe it's true, but think about the bad luck. Like, you're just serving bread to everybody, you know, anyone who buys the bread. But then someone who buys your bread happens to just die that day. And then people start saying it was your fault. His tone was deadly serious, and I left no room for argument.
まさか食べてねえだろうな。だとしたらすぐに吐き出せ。今すぐにだ。
ご心配には及びません。まだ手をつけていませんから。
Ansh answered for the both of us.
あれは悪魔の食べ物だ。あんなものを食えるのは魔女くらいのもんだろうに。家に帰ったら燃やして灰にしちまえ。わかったな。
Dang. Leaving us with that final warning, the man walked away. The previous joy I had felt had vanished into thin air.
食べちゃったんだけど。
I stared down at the bag of bread.
粗暴な殿方のざれ言です。気にしない方がいいのでは？
I had unknowingly taken a bite of the bread. How could I be so sure it wasn't spiked?
それに実際に口にして問題なかったのでしょう。毒なんて入っていなかったんですよ。
She's got a point. There wasn't much sympathy to be found in Ansh's eyes.
それでもまあ食べていないことにした方がいいでしょうね。彼らの言葉を真に受けた人があなたのことを魔女だと認識してしまうかもしれません。
It's so scary, living in a world so much paranoia.
それは嫌だな。あるいは
Ansh's gaze pierced through me.
ラザリエルは本物の魔女だったりして。
Why do you keep saying that?
そんなわけ。
Again, I looked down at the bag in my hands. I couldn't remember what the bread tasted like anymore. Ansh was gone before I knew it. Before I knew it, once the sun started to descend, it was as if she was never there at all. And I mulled over how lonely it was with no one by my side. The encounter from earlier kept bothering me. That's the devil's loaf. I didn't understand myself. Why was I so inclined to take that man at his word? It was undeniable that I was fine even after eating the bread. That was all the proof I needed. It's only... Oh, I clicked wrong. I'm sorry. It's only fit for witches to consume. Fear of the witch conjured a dark image in my mind. An image of an old door shut tight. Perhaps you are without a witch after all, Lazriel? Those words should not leave me. Would not leave me. There was something lurking on the other side of that door in my head, a terrifying secret that threatened to break itself out.
パンに毒が入っているのかいないのか。
I lifted a finger to my lips. Which was it?
ラザリエル。
I saw Remi running toward me. He sighed in relief as soon as he reached me.
何かあったのか。
大したことじゃないんだけど。
Tell him. You better tell him. My grip on the bag tightened as I explained what had happened at the square. Remi's expression darkened as he listened. He looked particularly displeased when I mentioned witches.
ラズリエルは魔女じゃない。
You seem oddly concerned and directly afraid that she'll think that. It was unusual for him to be so intense.
ラズリエルが魔女なわけがない。そもそも魔女なんてものは人の心の弱さが生み出した空想だ。
悪魔はいるのに？レミ君は悪魔と呼ばれているんでしょ？
それはそうだけど。悪魔だって。
Okay.
本当は存在してはいけないものだ。
So, I wonder if he's saying that like there is something magical about him, but it's not quite what they think it is, or more likely, he views himself as a monster for some reason. Something he did, something he was capable of doing. That he finds only a demon that he decides like in his mind he says only a demon could do that, so I must be a demon. That kind of thing. Like maybe a way that someone might label themselves like a sociopath or a psychopath, where it's like, why do I feel the way that I feel, or not feel the way that I should feel? Maybe I'm something special, something different, something wrong. Maybe he sees himself that way. If the bread was truly made with the intent to harm another person, then...
気になるなら俺が食べてみようか。
Ah. Remi snatched the bag out of my hands.
見たものだけを信じればいい。人の声を聞く必要はない。毒の有無なんてそれでわかる話だ。
Remi didn't consider that he might be wrong for even a second. That terrifying understanding urged me to grab Remi by the arm.
ダメ。
Remi's face that I once held in a dream flashed by.
もし本当に毒が入っていたらどうするの？
それは。
I believed that there was a witch lurking in the town who plotted to harm us and murder those around her.
でも確かめるには試すのが一番だ。
That wasn't it. What I feared wasn't the existence of a witch.
知らないままでいい。
I wanted to believe that there was poison, that the witch was wished ill upon someone innocent and the bread was baked with that intent. I heard a low murmur from the other side of the door. It wasn't locked anymore.
この街は少し怖い。
Felt like everyone I walked past was watching me. Their eyes all eager to find the next witch to crucify. Yeah, ugh. Remi's perspective. Oh, okay, this is back in the past. Crowds always remind me of what I saw that day. A girl crucified above a pyre, and the congregation that surrounded her. Dang.
魂ごと燃やし尽くしてしまえ。
毒に侵された魔女め、お前の存在は災いそのものだ。
厄災をはらんだ女よ、お前の足跡は悲劇を運ぶ。地獄の底で食いぬがいい。
There was no end to the hatred the masses spewed. It was all too cruel to watch.
一人の女の子に向けるには度が過ぎている。
That day I saved the girl from her fate. I still remember it like it was just yesterday. No, that wasn't right. I hadn't saved her. I had only delayed the inevitable, nothing more.
ラズリエルは大丈夫だろうか。
I wonder if Lazriel's doing alright. I didn't want to take Lazriel to town. To be surrounded by the masses would only cause her pain. But as Lazriel yearned for the outside world, I could not refuse her.
心配するな。あの子はもう。
She's different now. I think the girl he saved is Lazriel, but he's thinking about that memory and he's thinking about now. I found myself hurrying to find her. Nothing caused me greater worry than being apart from her. Interesting. John's perspective. Alright, I think we'll go ahead and take a chill for now.
聖書に記された神の言葉を思い起こしなさい。近親相関や
Oh
同
gosh.
性愛という罪深き行いについて神はどう仰せになっているかがよくわかります。
That's some heavy topics. You know what? Never mind. We're gonna go through this from memory real quick. Because, whew, boy.
我々の体は神の創造した神聖なる器なのです。この器を魂ごと汚す行いこそが姦淫の罪であります。神は
Oh, I clicked.
私たちに純潔を求めておられる。
It pained me to imagine how
肉
conflict.
欲に流され 神の教えを踏みにじる者たちよ。
You gotta admit those pauses were
今すぐ
insanely
目
long.
覚めなさい。
There we go. Okay. It paid me to imagine how conflicted Ilsa must have felt as she listened to the Reverend's sermon.
近くの町で魔女が発見されたようです。神の意志に抗う邪悪な存在です。
As Blackwood finished, he turned to face Ilsa sitting in the front row.
魔女はどんなことをするのですか？
人を騙して陥れる。
The devout believer that she was, Ilsa attended church daily to pray.
悪魔と契約を結び、悪魔崇拝の儀式に参加し、みだらに交わることでその力を得ようとしたり。
I wonder, so like there's that old stories about like devils making contracts and deals. I wonder if that's based on this idea, because I know for a long time in the Catholic Church, I think maybe to this day, but like at least back in the medieval times, like doing things like going into debt was considered a sin. And I wonder if the contracts were kind of lumped into that, like, oh, devils are the ones that make deals to give you money in exchange for like a contract, you know, like a contract that holds you bound. And I wonder if that kind of just like that fear and the fear mongering around it developed into a belief about devils being those who want to strike deals and, you know, like will give you great boons for the small pittance of your soul kind of thing.
人々や動物に病や死をもたらす呪いをかけ、貧困にあえぐ人々を苦しめたり、独創の扱いに長け、気に食わない人物を呪い殺そうとしたり、おおよそ人間の所業ではありませんね。
Interesting.
そんなことが本当に？
ええ、もちろんです。もう20年近く前のことになるでしょうか。このツイライトリッジの町にも
Oh yeah.
魔女の支配が及びそうになったことがあります。
I'm sure they were super totally real witches.
邪悪な魔女が人々を呪い苦しめました。私はその時に教会から派遣されてきたのですよ。
噂には聞いたことがあります。
Every word the Reverend spoke was true. The witches did threaten our village once, and we all choose not to speak of the terrible past, such that it may sooner fade away.
神父様。
However, what sparked Ilsa's concern was not the past.
会員は罪だと神様がおっしゃられるのなら、天使様を相手に恋をすることは許されますか？
難しい問題ですね。
Yeah. The Reverend looked most troubled at the girl's question. I could not blame him in the slightest.
もう少し現実に目を向けなさい。あなたのその信仰は素晴らしいものですが、行き過ぎてしまえば不幸を呼んでしまいます。
そんなことはありません。
Ilsa rejected the Reverend's words.
そんなことはありませんから。私はちゃんと幸せです。
Here lay the cause of Ilsa's isolation. She was headstrong, much to the chagrin of those around her. Perhaps it ran in the family.
イルサはいくつになりましたか？
Blackwood was the only person kind enough to engage with her.
気難しい子ではありましたが、大きく育ちましたね。
The Reverend looked at her with affection in his eyes.
あなたが求めるのなら、いつでも力になりますよ。どうか心を閉ざさないでくださいね。
Please don't turn out to be a really creepy, sketchy dude.
はい。
My Ilsa was so beloved by those around her. Everyone wanted the best for her. You need not doubt that whatsoever, my dear reader. Oh, I doubt it. Because I think I know where this is going. Especially with the fact that this scenery looks a lot like Remi's memory.
お帰りなさい。ただいま、お母さん。
It was evening that same day. My wife Emma was reminiscing about old times.
私にはね、お姉さんがいたの。あなたが生まれる少し前にこの町を旅立ってしまったんだけど。
お母さんに 初めて聞いた。
そうね。姉さんの話をするのは初めてだものね。だけど、あの時のことはあまりよく思い出せない。
Oh, was she maybe declared to be a witch back then? And she's like suppressed the memory?
きっと、あなたを産んで育てることにいっぱいいっぱいだったのね。姉さんを見送ることすらできなかったんだから。
Emma then handed a little box to Ilsa.
姉さんは異国の地で娘を産んだそうよ。音信不通になる前の最後の手紙に書いてあったわ。それまでのやりとりであなたを産んだことを報告していたの。姉さんたら手紙の中でとても喜んでいたわ。それは姉さんからあなたへの贈り物よ。子供だからってこういうのは早いと思っていたんだけど。
Yeah.
もう年頃の女の子だもんね。
Ilsa finally understood where Emma was taking the conversation.
今度町でお祭りがあるわ。あなたの思い人と一緒に行くのでしょ。
Oh
だから
no.
おしゃれをしないとね。
Uh-oh.
お母さん。
Her mother's bestowal could only have been a source of guilt for Ilsa. This boy did not exist. She must have eaten at it must have eaten at her, and yet Ilsa persevered.
ありがとう、お母さん。
She smiled.
彼に見せてくるね。
All so that her mother wouldn't worry for her. For that sake, Ilsa chose to lie to herself.
いってらっしゃい。
The lapis lazuli brooch shone brightly. Oh, I talked about lapis, Lazriel, lazuli. I wonder if that was his inspiration for the name. Aw, dang, we're getting a lot of good pictures today. Gonna be tough to decide what the thumbnail's gonna be. Tears flowed from Ilsa's eyes as she hurried away. She must have lamented that her mother's goodwill was wasted upon her, given the disposition she'd been born with. Ilsa turned around and saw a shade. What should not have existed approached Ilsa.
あなた様ならきっと全てを理解してくれる。
Ilsa looked at empty air and spoke to the void.
どうしてあなた様以外を愛さなくてはならないのでしょうか。
Embraced by shadow and nothing more, Ilsa whispered to herself as if entranced.
今度町でお祭りがあるのです。私のお母さんが好きな人と一緒に行って素敵な宝石を送ってくれたのです。だからあなた様と一緒に。
Ilsa herself should have known that her wish could not be granted.
お父さんやお母さんにあなた様のことを紹介させてください。きっと両親は理解してくれるはずです。なんたって家族ですから。
Ilsa spoke to no one in particular, as if she were a stage actress practicing her lines. From an outside perspective, she must have appeared deranged.
私はあなた様を心から愛しています。
Her declaration of love seemed at a glance a fragile thing of beauty. Between the lines, however, there was only pain and anguish.
そしてその愛情は他の誰にも否定されるべきではありません。
Ilsa faced the darkness and spoke.
何を捧げたらこの思いが叶うのでしょう。
Uh-oh. Perhaps Ilsa was already cursed by then.
もし
Oh my gosh.
この思いが
That's a-
叶うのなら
What a 180 for like a really devout
悪魔に
person.
さえも魂を捧げましょう。
If someone hears you, you're dead. Cursed indeed to have tragedy befall her. For she had not noticed that someone had been watching her. Yeah, there we go. It's done. It's Jover. The following is a record of an incident filed at Twilight Ridge's courts. The events that I witnessed have left me shaking. The witch trials from 20 years ago, the ordeal still haunts me to this very day. And now I fear that we have lost, all we have sacrificed may be for nothing. I humbly ask that the court hear my plea and give it nothing less than full consideration. It was deep within the woods that I witnessed the witch. The woods were terrifying, and I would usually not dare approach it, but on this particular day I felt that something was amiss. The animals were unusually riled up. I thought it would be best to take a look. As I walked through the trees, I heard a crackling noise. It sounded very much like a beast or an insect's cry, only far more foul. I held my breath and drew closer. It was there that I witnessed the wretched Ilsa swear her love to the devil. Her faint whisper threatened to leave my very soul frozen. The girl clung to the devil, entranced, as she carelessly spoke one blasphemy after another. I could not believe my senses. That girl, ever so strange but never trouble, was colluding with an incarnation of evil itself. What I witnessed was nothing less than treason against her fellow men. With her malediction and dark designs, she will no doubt bring great harm to the village if left to her own devices. That is why I saw fit to bring forth this accusation, for we must not tolerate her kind. The tragedy of 20 years ago can never be repeated. It is my hope that this indictment will save us all and bring us closer to a peaceful world. Rascal Smith. Well, there we go. That's basically set up for the finale of that story. Alright, Lazriel's perspective, and we're here. So she's recalling that memory. Alright, but we're going to stop here for today. It's going to get ugly. But we're ratcheting down to like those memories and like kind of like that point. So the question's going to be when Lazriel remembers that she's likely Ilsa and makes that connection finally. That door in her mind finally opens. What's going to happen? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be painful. But we'll have to see how it goes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, I appreciate that you're making time for a smaller channel and for a smaller series on this channel, because I still think that some of my favorite games have been these little titles that a lot of people end up seeing. And so I'm grateful that you take the time to come and check this one out. I think it's been beautiful, and I'm very excited to be able to continue to share it with you. Hopefully you've enjoyed yourself with me and can understand my thoughts in the matter. Hopefully you had a good time, you're having a good week so far, and that the future's bright. I'm looking to make some changes in my personal life, and whilst I hope it won't affect the channel too much, it really shouldn't, but whenever life changes happen, you never quite know what to expect, so we'll have to see. But I appreciate you all the same, and I hopefully will be able to continue to make content. I mean, I will. I just hope it doesn't get disrupted or that we don't have to make any major changes, because frankly, I really like what we've got going so far. So I appreciate that, and especially thank you to my supporters, the patrons and members. Like for all you do for me, I don't deserve, but it helps me so much to be able to just kind of cultivate a little bit more, a little bit better, and kind of make something more of the channel than it currently is. So thank you so much for your support there. And hopefully I keep making content that keeps you wanting to support. And maybe someday we'll be able to make it grow into something even more incredible than it is now. So we can all dream. And I'm going to keep on dreaming. So thank you so much. And until the next video, watching me, have to see me in next. I'll see you there.